Hi, this is Tara with Index Data, and this is how to create a vendor in FOLIO. So we're going to start by going to the Organizations app. And first, let's make sure that the vendor we want to add doesn't already exist. We can search by name or any of these fields, and we can also narrow down our results by any of the facets under Search and Filter. It looks like it doesn't exist, so we're going to click the blue New button. Here, under Create Organization, we're going to enter the name of our vendor. Next, we'll enter a unique code, and this is neat. If we enter a code that we've already used, FOLIO will warn us. Next, we'll enter the accounting code, which is the code used by your library in your payment system in reference to the organization. We'll add the organization status, and this one is important because orders can only be opened and invoices can only be paid if the organization is a vendor with an active status. So we have the option to set a default language for this organization, but it's not required, so we'll skip that. But this part is really important. We're going to click this checkbox to make this organization a vendor. You'll notice that when you click the checkbox, all the vendor sections appear below. Those are actually the only required sections for a vendor, so we could stop here and save and close this record now and use it, but we'll make this record a little fuller. So one thing we can add is an alternative name, and this is really useful for cases where an organization's name has changed, like when lynda.com became LinkedIn Learning. So the next thing we're going to fill out is contact information, and we're going to use the magic of editing to make this go really quickly. But the one thing I did want to point out is this categories feature. So for each of these types of contact information, you can designate what kind of contact information it is. Is it for returns? Is it for shipping? And you can see that you can add more than one category. The next thing we're going to do is add contact people, and these are actual individuals who are working at this organization. So we can search in this modal, and if we find the person that we're looking for, we can go ahead and add them to the record. Or we can add a contact, and if we aren't able to find them by search, we can click New. And if you see this message that says there are unsaved changes, make sure you click Keep Editing, go back and save and close the record that you've already made. That way you won't lose what you've already done. Now we can go back and hit Edit. And when we go back to contact people and we hit add contact, this time we can add a new contact. And this will take us to a screen where we can enter their last name, their first name, any information that we need in order to contact them, as well as a category, just like we did with the addresses. We'll hit save and close to save, and our contact was saved. And now we're going to X out of this, and we're back in our organization record. And we can see that both of our contact people are there. The next thing we're going to add is an interface, and an interface is a website that you go to interact with this organization, be it for reporting or for ordering, something like that. So just like with adding a contact person, the first thing we can do is search to see if our interface already exists. And if it doesn't, we can go ahead and create a new interface. And just like with contact people, if you get that warning that you need to save, you should save so you don't lose your record. So first we can select the type of interface, and you can select more than one. Then we'll give this interface a name. We can list the URL. We can add a username and password. And then if statistics are available, we can indicate that and also make explicit the delivery method and the statistics format. We can hit save and head on back to organizations. So next we're going to fill out the vendor information, and like a lot of these fields, these are going to show up in invoices when we eventually use this organization to create an invoice. And so you can see we're going to put in a payment method, we're going to set a currency, and we're going to set it as export to accounting so that it will create vouchers. And if we take just 1 second to look at an actual invoice, so if we select this organization that we're creating currently, we'll see that it automatically sets it to the values that we set in those fields. So next we'll go ahead and we'll set the vendor terms, and we're going to go ahead and click Add. This is for recording any sort of discount arrangement that you might have with the vendor. And unlike the previous example, this information doesn't show up anywhere. You have to actually look at the organization to get it. It's not a discount that gets applied to invoices. And then we have EDI information, and this section is currently under development, so any information that you put here is basically just for reference, so we're not going to bother with this one either. And then finally, we have accounts. Accounts describes any account that your library has with a vendor that you use for ordering. It's an optional section as well, but once you open it, you have to add something or you won't be able to save. And that is how to create a vendor in Folio.